my father and mother. My father is dead. My mother bore me with labor and pain and fear. By my body I invoke thee. About me shine, the diamonds are radiance, white and pure. By the brightness I invoke it. Mine is the red triangle reverse, the sign given of none. Save it be of thee, O Lord. By the Lamb and I invoke thee. Free mine is the garment of white, sold with gold. The flashing of eye that I wear by my robe I invoke thee. Mine is the sign of a prophets and typhon. By the sign I invoke it. For mine is the turban of white and gold, and mine the blue vigor of the intimate. By my crown I invoke thee. My fingers travel on the beads of pearl, so run I after thee in thy car of glory. By my fingers I invoke thee. I bear the bond of double power in the voice of the master. Abrahadabra, by the word I invoke thee. Be mine the dark blue waves of music in the song that I made about to invoke thee. Strike amongst the cord. Draw the flaming sword. Child and conquering Lord. Horus, avenger. By the song I invoke thee. In my hand is thy sword of revenge. Let it strike at thy bidding. By the sword I invoke thee. The voice of the fight, the voice of the 611 other voices. Abrahadabra. The voice of the fight, the voice of the 611 other voices. Abrahadabra. Mine is the head of the man, and my insight is keen as the ox. By my head I invoke thee. I am the only begotten child of my father and mother. My father is dead. My mother bore me with labor and pain and fear. By my body I invoke thee. Above me shine the diamonds of radiance, white and pure. By the brightness I invoke thee. Mine is the red triangle reverse, the sign given of none. Save it sign of fight that I wear. By my robe I invoke thee. Mine is the sign of Apophis and Typhon. By the sign I invoke thee. Mine is the token of white and gold. And mine the blue vigor of the intimidator. By my crown I invoke thee. My fingers travel on the beats of pearl, so run I after thee in thy car of glory. By my fingers I invoke thee. For that the one of double power in the voice of the master. Abrahadabra. By the word I invoke thee. Hey, mine are the dark blue waves of music in the song that I made about to invoke thee. Strike, strike the master chord, draw the flaming sword, crown, giant and conquering lord, Lord, avenger, by the sword I invoke thee. In my hand is thy sword of revenge, let it strike, as thy bidding, by the sword I invoke thee. The voice of the five, the voice of the six, 11 are the voices. Abracadabra. Mine is the head of the man, and my insight is keen as the ox. By my head I invoke thee. I am the only begotten child of my father and mother. My father is dead. My mother bore labor and pain and fear by my body. I invoke thee. About me shine the diamonds of radiance, white and pure by their brightness. I invoke thee. Mine is the red triangle reverse, the sign given of none save it be of thee. Oh Lord, by the layman, I invoke thee. Mine is the garment of white, so mine is the head of the man, and my insight is keen as the ox. By my head I invoke thee. I am the only begotten child of my father and mother. My father is dead. My mother bore me with labor and pain and fear by my body. I invoke thee. About me shine the diamonds of radiance, white and pure. By their brightness, I. Mine is the head of the invocation concludes. Therefore I say unto thee, come thou forth and dwell in me, so that every spirit, whether of the firmament, or of the ether, or of the earth, or under the earth, on dry land, or in the air, of falling air, or of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God, the vast one might be mine is the head of the hawk, Abrahadabra! I bear the rose and cross of life and life! Abrahadabra! And cross of life and light, giving the sign at each abrahadabra. Remaining in the sign, the invocation concludes. Therefore I say unto thee, come thou forth and dwell in me, so that every spirit, whether of the firmament, or of the ether, or of the earth, or under the earth, on dry land, or in the water, of whirling air, or of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God, the vast one might be mine is the head of the hawk, abrahadabra, and ends. 6. I bear the rose and cross of life and light, giving the sign at each abrahadabra. Remaining in the sign, the invocation concludes. Therefore I say unto thee, come thou forth and dwell in me, so that soft but stronger than I knew. My fear turned gold in your eyes, and my whole night broke in two. I was lost in the noise, now I'm learning how to stay close to your quiet. Have all the channels. Just depends on how you.
Dan ade quite candy ben long. Quite cop system bang the long the coasty wala bang.
Starbucks, and that's because it's from Seattle. Everywhere else you go, you can get jalapenos McDonald's down here. It's kind of wild.
Jalapenos aren't even that spicy. That's too
No, that's right. That's entry level peppers, and if you send one jar to New York or Pennsylvania, you got to send an SDS. You got to have people showing up in plastic suits surrounding the jar and say, "What the fuck is this stuff?" But it just turns out how you get started.
What's the hottest pepper? Is it the Asian peppers or the jalapeno?
Well, they have like height. So you have to look this up because for the last like a decade or so, you have hybrids where they basically ended up like there's the Carolina Reaper. There's all of these weird ones where it is like if you were to look at like habanero, which is this more common pepper, which is much spicier than jalapeno. This is like literally these peppers start getting hundreds of times hotter, and it literally people they get ulcers where they burn a hole in their stomach trying to digest this stuff. It's
Are they hotter than Szechuan? Than like the really hot Chinese?
That's not been my
experience. Yeah.
Really? You think that's the case? Because I've had my face burned off over in Asia eating those little shit.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in desperate, really like pain in Asia.
Yeah, they have it's like I don't know, kind of like marijuana, like how you have these really strong strands that people end up producing these hybrids, and you have much stronger peppers now. You can look it up. They have was it the Scoville scale? I forget what it's called, but it is you have peppers that are just like insanely spicy. And I haven't had those.
Mm.
But Jebediah, I also have my first selfie with an alligator, and I tried to grab it. I missed him because he went into the brush. My first rattlesnake, I tried to pull him out, and haven't quite there. I've hiked Caprock,
Are you trying to grab a rattlesnake?
Oh yeah, rattlesnakes are overrated, man. I mean, it's the copperheads you got to worry about. Rattlesnakes are the big pussies of the reptiles, actually. I mean, if you step on one, you got a problem. But if they see you coming, they're going to run mostly.
No, that's true. But here in Arizona, where they're like pretty common. They're a lot faster. They're a lot faster than like for example the birds in Asia.
Yep.
And they are generally when you get bit, it's because you did not see it and you put your hand near it or your foot went near it. That's basically how it happens. It doesn't. Obviously, nobody wants to get bit by one.
I actually just saw one, and I was like, oh. I wanted to get him out of the brush so I could see him. I tried to grab his tail, but there was like this pylon, and then there was this rock and some brush, and he slid in there, and I wasn't going to put my hand too far in and try to grab him. Mm-hmm. So I let him go, but I damn near close. I'm going to get one, and then I'm going to hold the selfie with me holding a rattlesnake. They're bigger than I thought, though.
You don't see those fuckers can leap, though. Like, that's the scary part.
Wow.
Like, rattlesnakes are not... I don't even know what the strongest rattlesnakes are in the United States. You have like the. I think I don't think it's here in the Sonoran Desert. I think actually in the Mojave Desert they have the strongest. And
We
there's
have
that
them here. Like, well, I
No,
mean,
but
we
yeah,
like,
in Mojave, and then you have the
you said it
cottonmouth.
right. You said it right the right time. Like, you know, I live in Georgia, but when I went no, but we have a lot of shit ton of diamondbacks around here. Like, and we have water, and we have water moccasins. Like, can I finish without you interrupting?
Jesus Christ, you fucking retard.
You're a retard that's interrupting me. You know, but like, you know, like when I was in like Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri, you were talking about like, you know, copperheads. You know, I had to dig an over-under when I was like in the field, and I was in my sleeping bag, which we call a fart sack. You know, and then when I was in my fart sack, I woke up and there was a fucking copperhead.
Okay. Well, I believe again in Canada. I mean, you have convinced me that Canada would not, you know, would be like the movie Red Dawn, like y'all would fight. You know, so.
Oh yeah, like make no mistake about it. People would definitely fight. I mean, would they like it? No, and I mean, especially, I mean, does anyone want to get, like, I remember when this whole thing started, when Trump threatened Canada, I wasn't the only person that was just like, are you fucking, excuse my language, are you fucking kidding me? Because the thought of fighting Americans, as much as we may have, like, you know, a friendly rivalry, especially hockey and certain stuff like that, whatever, it's like having fights with your cousins. In a way, like we all share the same continent. We've been through wars together. We've exchanged and we're traded a lot together. It doesn't. No one would feel good about fighting Americans.
That is not true.
Because we would lose when we're not. It's not. You just don't want to do that. It's like fighting a family. Why would you want to fight with your family? Feel good about that. Like, the thought of it is just. I don't even know if we'd want to. I don't know if anyone would have like the stomach for it because it's just so weird. There's so many interactions that we have together that we have, I mean, a lot of Canadians have properties in America and vice versa and go to vacation all the time. It'd be super weird to be actual foes.
Hey Marlene, I have a
Donald
question for you.
Trump wants to. I was going to say, for Donald Trump to say to take us out of NATO, that is just dumb. And if you have Republicans that back that idea, what in the hell? That's like a long standing coalition, I guess. So, you know, it's embarrassing. We need to keep NATO together. And Donald Trump talks about so-and-so paying their fair share and all this kind of stuff. Look. At the end of the day, sure, people are paying their fair share now, I guess, the way he says it. But, my God, we shouldn't even be in any of this kind of stuff as far as wars and this, what right now. This is just really embarrassing. And I think, what is this, 3 or 4 days, this war may be illegal. Lisa talked about that. So, illegal things, Donald Trump doesn't care. So, let's see if this holds and when the time comes, let's see if the war ends under, you know, an illegal, you know, circumstance. I don't know what y'all think. Do you think that the war will end after, you know, Congress, you know, whoever declares this to be illegal, or will Donald Trump be able to continue doing this regardless of what is passed?
I wanted to answer my question still. I don't have an answer for that, but I did want to answer the question, Marlene. Marlene, do you have like an AMSR microphone, like or something like for this one? Because I want to ask you, like, how does it feel to wake up with universal health care and like speak slowly, like, and sort of say it in like a sexy voice, if you would?
Well, I will try to speak in a sexy voice.
But what does it feel like to have universal health care, though? Like, I mean, really?
Honestly, the fact that you, as a country, as successful with the amount of millionaires, billionaires that you have, and leaders of the quote unquote leaders of the free world, the fact that you don't have universal health care is barbaric to me. Frankly, it is absolutely barbaric and nonsensical because I've seen a breakdown of a person that had medical services in America, and the fact that you guys charge down to the gloves that the doctor uses, and that's literally whether you have money or not could be the difference between you live or die is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy to me. I mean, I understand. I understand. Sorry, go ahead, Craig.
The only thing I'm gonna say is it depends on the state.
Oh, I'm sure, but I say that it shouldn't depend on the state. That's my point either. I mean, I get that there's little differences between states, etc. And obviously, like if you're like, I assume that if you get shot and it's an emergency, that you will be serviced. You'll just end up having the debt to, I mean, the point of I don't even want to imagine out of your to your next generation to do that. So I don't. I mean, that's just crazy. And I wonder sometimes, what do you all pay your taxes for? If it's not to take care of yourselves, what in the world are you paying your taxes to do? Because no one, I mean, sure, let's just be very clear. Canada is not perfect, and especially since this, in the last decade or so, of this adaptation of privatization, in which unfortunately came from you all. I mean, we have greedy fucking politicians, mainly on the right. I'll say it straight goods because they're corrupt as fuck. They've taken that idea from privatization and stealing public funds to fund private care. That was an idea taken from America because, again, they're just all corrupt and they get money out of it. It's not because that is their fundamental way. And eventually there's going to be a huge pushback on it because the boomers are now getting old and they're needing care, and we're literally having a crisis in our healthcare. But outside of the recent issues, fundamentally, no one's going broke or poor from going to the hospital. It doesn't matter what you have, that is basically covered. And if you have a good job, you'll even have additional coverage that covers a lot of that, if not all of it. So the most that we pay for is prescriptions. And even some of that, depending on what drug plan is, will be covered completely. So there's no one, the only time yes, there can be for certain special things, there could be a wait for a few months, but if you have the money, sure, you can privatize that and go and spend that right away and probably even get reimbursed. But the fact that you all do not have universal health care, and also you have maternity times of 2 weeks, we go a year. Maternity was a year. And there's paternity leave too. So it's that is crazy to me that you all live like that, and you must probably have to choose between, am I going to go to the hospital, the doctor, or going to just suss it out? Which is crazy. You shouldn't wonder whether or not you're able to go to a doctor to take care of your health, and whether the government that you pay and you vote to put there is going to cover that. Because what other function, other than taking care of the people, by the people, for the people, are they there for? It's crazy. You guys should have already post-tested and burnt the whole shit down at this point.
Let me jump in real quick on that too. So to the point about, because that's the reason why I asked you, so really, and you got to it about how it feels to just be able to know you can go to the doctor and you don't have to work. So for us and for a lot of people, these people in these rooms, most everybody in here, if you can be on Clubhouse, you're probably working or you're doing okay or whatever, or you have insurance. There are a lot of people now that have lost their health insurance, these healthcare subsidies that they talk about, and listening to that and you're in North Carolina, you're in Lindsey Graham, so you're in Stitch when it is, and you're out of work and your kid or you got something going on with you that you want to get checked out, but you know can't afford to go to the doctor, and we're spending $400 million on a fucking ballroom that shouldn't be built, or you're sitting there watching this war, to what Lisa was talking about earlier, where these ships have been out for a year, and the amount of money that it costs for us to run this war, I think it was like $1 billion or something fucking, I don't know. It's like this money, it gets to where like the numbers like fucking monopoly money. But saying that to say that people, so for y'all to have universal health care, we don't, and we're literally watching people just burning through our money, and people literally out here are like suffering behind it. So that's why I was just asking just to wonder like how it feels if you have something wrong with you, just go and just get it taken care of and not have to worry like going into debt.
And Michael, just go ahead and do it, brother. Let's move to Canada.
We'd be glad to have him. And honestly, I don't know how you guys do it. I have no idea how you Americans have not burnt shit down. In fact, I'd burn that damn ballroom downtown.
The question I think everybody on 421, when's the
I'm sorry, but there's no freaking way. I think you guys, America right now under Trump is having a let them eat cake moment, which is just.
When is the Michael Marlene way?
Okay, Omar, I want to respond to Omar real quick. So Omar tries to minimize shit and feels like I'm doing too much, and he's minimizing. So the shit I'm saying is real shit. So I'm not moving to Canada. So I've got family here, we bled, that died on this motherfucking soil. So I'm just saying that we need to get, I'm just saying, we need to get our fucking healthcare fixed. So what I want to happen is that there'll be somebody like a Maxwell Funk that's gonna be younger, or the people coming up like your kids or whatever, like just like on my kids, like they're coming up, they're gonna go ahead and push for this shit to get us to where we need to be, because like to Marlene's point, all the taxes we pay in this country are watching our money being squandered for everything, and there are literally people that can't take care of themselves financially, they literally can't medically take care of themselves, and yet Lindsey Graham got on there, and like I said, he's gonna up it $20 million over like what the estimate was, because it's gonna take a little bit more to build.
All I'm saying, go ahead and get that AM radio host.
I think all the protesters
What I'm saying, hold on. What I'm saying, Omar, is that people really die on shit. So if you want to like play around or whatever, that's cool. Just like you did the Trump video where you show like Trump has black friends. If you want to move the narrative like that, that's fine, Omar. But I'm saying people literally are really suffering out here for this shit.
All I'm
So
saying, there's a little brown
that's
sugar
not
in
a joke.
Canada, and it's not maple, it's brown.
It's not a joke, brother. It's like, but if you want to
And
joke,
that
that's
she
fine.
got free health care.
That's fine. That's fine. Hey, may your family never have to deal with this bullshit or whatever the rest of us have to deal with. So I guess you're living outside the bubble, so that's good, man. You good. Your proximity to whiteness, I guess, saves you from that.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Your
California,
proximity to whiteness
we get free healthcare
saves
in
you.
California. So we don't have that issue. We like Canada.
So anyway,
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, it just Omar, like I say, just like again, people in this country are dying, and I'm just saying, just Omar with this bullshit or whatever, it's just annoying as fuck. But again, I don't know. Like I said, trying to make a serious point, and Omar is just like being like a dickhead or whatever. But it's like it's all good.
I mean, I think if all the protests that you guys should have, I'm not saying, and I'm not trying to minimize the importance of the other ones that have been conducted so far. But I honestly think that if there's anything that you guys should be on the streets about nonstop, is the fact that you don't have universal health care. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, a country such as yours, the size of yours, and with the amount of amount of rich people and the amount of resources should not be operating less than a third world country, because that's exactly what it is. I mean, you shouldn't be also worried about putting yourself into generational debt because you got sick. That's not something you did to yourself. Like, if you get cancer, you should not have to worry about whether you can pay for your cancer treatments or your child's treatments and what happens to a kid. That's barbaric, and I just don't understand why that hasn't been the number one. The fact that you guys got insurance was a big deal, which is again kind of crazy to me, because you guys couldn't go quite to universal route.
Well, Marlene, check this out. So California tried to do it, and you can look at it a few years ago. It was billions of dollars. It was so expensive. It wasn't even something that they can do.
Of course it's
Because how
expensive,
much-
but
how
I
much
mean,
is
but
the
you hold
war?
on.
Oh, how
So
much
Michael,
is the war? How much-
exactly. I was just about to say that because like we say that, but you find out that you're spending $2 billion a day on war, and how? I mean, do someone else do the math? You guys have been over war for the last 30 days. Don't tell me you guys don't have the money, because when you guys need the money for bullshit like this, you've got. I mean, America finds it pretty damn quickly and pretty damn easily. I mean, millions of dollars should not be poured into into missiles. And it's not like you're, and I say this respectfully, but most of the time you're not even defending yourselves. You're going out of your own borders to go to involve yourself in some sort of foreign conflict in order to steal some other shit or help some other person like advance, like just it's so stupid. At least take care of your own first. I don't understand.
Let's go America first, baby.
And we're the greatest, and we love America. You know, I mean, we're number one. But yet you have your brother or sister that can't afford the damn medication.
Oh.
That is crazy. And you guys you guys recently gave tax breaks to some of the richest people.
You can't afford a vaccine. I mean, you're crazy.
Private jet. Yet a child who's under the poverty level can't get a fucking free lunch, and that is totally normal in America.
Oh my
God!
God.
Crazy. The fact that you all just sat there and just like, oh yeah, it's fine. It's like, that's crazy. I'm good. That's crazy. I go to bed knowing just fine that people are unsure or can actually go and to the hospital and they're not going to reject it. No one's asking them for a bill or shit. They're only asking like, hey,
Hello?
listen, that's it.
Hello?
I could not. I couldn't be. So as fine as you American brothers are, there's no way I could live in America.
No
at
way,
all, for
brother.
so many different reasons.
No fucking
because
way.
I
Not
could
without
not
universal
live
health care. I
without
could
this.
never
I'm
do it.
surrounded by
Could never do
happiness.
it. How
Especially
could you
when
do
my
this to
lifestyle
yourself?
is usually at the expense of other people, because that's exactly what it is. It's not like people are just making their money and they're doing their thing. No, it's literally at the expense of the general public. When the general public is poor. You guys are even like poor. Wait till the bills come in on after this war, plus the tax breaks that are being given.
She ain't lying.
Big beautiful bill. My God, like
My God.
I don't understand how that should be protested. That should be protested on a daily basis. If you guys really want change, that is the number one aim that I would, as a citizen, if I was you, because that's crazy. People are going to get older, people get sick, and people, especially if you don't have any regulations regards to your safety in the workplaces and the quality of food, all that stuff, that makes people sick. And if you cannot, sick people cannot enjoy money. Because you can have money, but if you don't have your health, you have nothing. And if your whole populace is getting sick, that affects your economy, that affects the workforce. So all of it's connected, and taking care of each other and making sure that your generations are taken care of for the future is for the betterment of the country. You can't talk about, oh, it's going to cost us this much. Actually, it's going to cost you way more in the long run. But that's just my opinion. I learned.
So to that point,
Great.
also, they've talked about the SNAP benefits. So people also, we don't have medical, but then we can't eat. So there's a story of this woman that literally talked about she was crying when she went for a physical. She lost 40 pounds in a year. She talked about being at $375 per month for her SNAP benefits for her food. And she talked about the cuts, where they cut it down to $75 after Trump did what he did with this bill. And then she said the shit went down to $25 per month for food. So this an elderly woman who's having issues. I can't remember if she was disabled, but her went from $375 down to $25. They're literally killing people. This whole thing we did with USAID, where we just out of these countries, we're killing people, but then because we're pulling money out of these programs like Russell Rott and all this shit they did with Doge and Elon Musk and all these cuts they did. But meanwhile, like to the point that we're all talking about, this war that Trump, he thought it was going to be quick, whatever, but it's like we're burning off all this money. We're just shitting out money. And meanwhile, this woman is on $25 a month trying to eat. So the priorities are what they are. But when I was was asking you the question about Canada. I was genuinely being serious because I don't think I've ever asked a Canadian what it feels like just to be able to go